Yeah, g'day, Bush Camping Tools here. Well, today I want to show you this product from Extrema Ratio. Let's have a closer look at it. Right, so this is the Satre. It's new from Extrema Ratio. I cord wrapped it. It didn't come with any cord wrapping on there. There are several models available. The only distinguishing feature between the models is one model comes in S600. That's a tungsten alloy tool steel, and it's really been hardened up. I think it's like 64 Rockwell. So I won't talk about that just yet because I don't own that one. I only own this one. This is the one in stonewashed in N690. So it's 5 millimeters across the tang here. Now I don't own many neck knives, and you see me do a video on neck knives in the past of what, how useful can they be, and we're going to explore this in a minute. But we're out in the van here for a bit of a barbecue. We haven't had to walk very far, about 4 kilometers or whatever away from everyone. You can hear some people with rifles in the background there. But anyway, yeah, so we're not in the middle of nowhere completely. Anyway, yeah, I put a bit of cord wrapping on there because for my hands, if I don't have gloves on, it's a little bit more comfortable. But this essentially is a blade length, which is really no bigger than a Swiss Army blade length knife. But of course, it's much, much thicker than a Swiss Army knife blade. So there's nothing to break in this, so you can put a lot more forces into a smaller blade like this than what you would with a folding knife of equivalent size blade. And I really like that. For me, I've blogged about this, for me, neck knives are more of a utility knife. You can have it on you to open cardboard boxes, that kind of stuff. But, how useful are they out in the wilds? I won't go so far as to say they could be a survival tool. I mean, because any modern object on you could be a survival tool if you find yourself in such a precarious situation. On here in the scabbard, it's going to sit really close to the chest. It's very, very flat. You see that there? It's really flat. They are going to offer later on a pocket clip, ulti clip, that will go on a pocket. And anyway, you've seen an ulti clip before on another EDC knife I have. They're pretty good. And I'd probably wear it like that rather than a neck knife. I'm a bit uncomfortable myself having something really sharp around my neck. But nonetheless, this should prove a useful blade. So I've already cut some stuff up with it, some meat. You could use this as an emergency hunting knife if you forgot your hunting knife. I mean, a mate of mine, he skinned and gutted an entire goat with a broadhead. And the broadhead, of course, if you're into bow hunting, the broadheads are not this long. So you could certainly do it with something like this. If you don't cord wrap it, it's totally no nonsense too, because there's nothing to clean on it. All right, let's move on and have a closer look. Certainly can put more force into this than a Swiss Army knife, that's for sure. This is birch. It's not bad for a small knife, All right, let's move on and try something else. if you had to, right? I wouldn't recommend this, but you know, let's see what you can do with a small knife like this. It's a bit damp, this wood, but well, you're not going to treat a folding penknife like that, that's for sure. So clearly, you know, you can split some wood with this thing. At 5mm, it's just as thick as a 5mm, you know, regular fixed blade, except the blade is so small and it's light enough, it's been milled out in the handle enough to enable it to be carried around the neck without weighing, you know, like an anchor chain around your neck. Let's try this here again. Bit of a knot. Hold on. Well, there you go. You know, not too bad. All right, let's move on. No problems. Okay, so I want to do the summary on this thing now, this neck knife, and I like using carabiners a lot to connect things so you can't lose things. Okay, I want to try and get the branch down. You need a saw. Now I'm going to lose that in a minute, so I don't want to lose this. So I can take that off. Just to gain a bit of height at once. Look out. So what you can do is, still running, aren't you? I use a bit of paracord in this just to hook over a branch. It's a bit out of way, you know, so it's a perfect thing to pull a branch down to. You know, if you don't have it around your neck, but anyway. Alright, so yeah, the Extrema Ratio Satre neck knife. I like it. I think, you know, these things have their uses. You know, they're never going to replace a big knife. This is a thing that you're just going to have as a small utility knife. Really, you may not ever reach for the thing because normally, you know, like I'm taking a medium blade knife and a big one, depending on where I'm going. So you may never reach for one of these things, but you'd have like a blade, which is essentially, you've got to think about it, the length of a Swiss Army knife, but much, much thicker. In this case, you see it's 5 mils. It's pretty thick, it's pretty sturdy. You could see I could even split some small bits of birch timber with this for a fire. It's very sharp. I can cut up meat. You've seen me cutting up meat. You can cut up a few vegetables with it. Everything for a little day trip. And to be honest, today I came out here, you know, not very far away, as I said, you know, 4 Ks out into the bush, just so, you know, and this is the only blade I've taken with me, and I managed to do everything today with it. You know, it's a no-brainer out there. So there you go, Extrema Ratio Satre neck knife. It's new from them. There's also one, remember I said earlier on, in S600. That's a tungsten alloy tool steel. It's been hardened up to 64 HRC, very, very hard. And kind of thing, you know, people are a bit worried about the brittleness. Well, if you're not bolting the daylights out of it and only using it for cutting, it should be absolutely fine, and it should really stay sharp. So you know when you've got the thing and you pull it out, it's going to be sharp. Of course, yes, it will be difficult to sharpen those really high Rockwell alloy steel knives. So that's one thing to remember, you know, if you go down that route. Anyway, yeah, so Bush Camping Tools here. Thanks for watching.